I, Marky Xtreme, touch a lot of people. I, Marky Xtreme, touch a lot of kids.
It's hardcore. It's uncensored. It's On Your Mark with Mark E. Xtreme.
Welcome back, wrestling fans, to the most extreme wrestling podcast, On Your Mark, with Skeeter Skyflyer and, of course, the 15-plus year Backyard Wrestling Entertainment Champion and my best friend in the whole dang world, Marky Xtreme.
I swear, God, Cedar, if we're going to do this podcast for a lengthy amount of time, you're going to eventually have to get my gosh dang introduction right. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Mark Xtreme, 15-plus year undefeated Backyard Wrestling Entertainment Champion and owner of Backyard Wrestling Entertainment Champion. And not to mention, I'm the host of the #1 hit YouTube series, On Your Mark, now climbing to the top of the charts on iTunes. #1 podcast in the goddamn wrestling world, On Your Mark. I want the podcast live tours. I want that dick pill money. I want to take John Connor Thompson's top of the charts podcast. I want to be the best podcast there is, Skeeter. And to do that, you're going to have to start getting my introduction right.
Well, that's exciting. I love that introduction. You do it so good. And are we really doing better than Vince Russo's podcast?
Oh, yes. You know what? I've gotten word from Dave Meltzerman, and I've got the Nelson ratings, and we're the best podcast there is. So nobody needs to look at any of the numbers because you're here to hear first, folks. We are better than Vince Russo.
That's exciting. Thank you so much to all the fans out there. We love doing this show for you, and this is so great. And today's subject that we're going to be talking about in wrestling is the Young Bucks.
Hell yeah.
Are you excited to be talking about the Young Bucks?
I'm very excited to be talking about the Young Bucks, Skeeter. You know, these kids, they've done very well for themselves in this business. And you know what? My opinion have gone back and forth with these kids. Frankly, I don't get them. You know, I think they're very talented. You know, not a lot of people can do the things that they do in the ring. I for one I can do even more. I can do triple moonsaults off the top of a 2-story house. I've done it in the Johnson's backyard, for instance, a couple years ago at a Backyard Wrestling Entertainment event, Sunny in the Bank. But you know, I think that they obviously have had a great career in this business, going from the backyards themselves. They, got a lot of attention for themselves on the indie scene, and now they have their own company, which I'm sure we're going to dive into here in a second. But back to my point, I don't get it. They're very tiny, they're obviously no Demolition. They're no big monsters, I think money is in big, the bigger something can get, the more money it can make. And they're small, and I don't really fully understand it, but that's not to say that somebody doesn't like this flavor of ice cream,
Well, I guess that's a good point, but the Young Bucks are so good, they're so successful, and I think there's something very interesting to point out between Marky Xtreme and the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks started as backyard wrestlers. Did you know that, Marky Xtreme?
Yeah. Like I mentioned a second ago, the Young Bucks did start in the backyard. That's a connection that I have with these guys. When we were running the circuit around the same time, I would hear rumblings about these guys and, some of the things that they were doing, but I, being someone that was running a company and building my brand, it's hard for me to do a lot of research on people outside of, my territory. But, they were getting rumblings even back then. And so they were doing things that a lot of people in their territory weren't doing. So obviously we knew that they were the cream was going to torch the floor in the beginning there.
Now, Mark, when you say your territory, you of course you talk about the neighborhood.
Yeah. Obviously, backyard wrestling, backyard entertainment territories consists of someone's neighborhood. So our territory is our neighborhood. It goes from the Johnson's backyard to the Thompson's backyard, and my neighbor Jose, and his luchador division. So our territory is on the opposite side of the country from where the Young Bucks territory was. So we never got the opportunity to work with those kids.
I was going to say, why did you never book the Young Bucks for your show?
But Skeeter, I don't got the goddamn sky miles to bring these kids in. That if they wanted to work for BW, they were going to have to get there on themselves. We've had a lot of people from different territories around the country that provided their own travel to come in and get beaten by Marky Xtreme. And, that's a way to build your career. And, that I was not going to pay them. If anything, that we had some discussions through AOL, Instant Messenger at the time, and we were discussing them coming in, but I told them plain and simple: you want to come into Backyard Wrestling Entertainment, you're going to have to pay to fly in, and or however the fuck you want to get here, and you're going to pay to lose to me. And creative differences kept them from coming to Backyard Wrestling Entertainment. But we did have discussions early on. Yeah, I will say.
I guess fans, I forgot to mention up top, if you heard that F word, that's because this show, unlike the YouTube show, is uncensored. Isn't that right, Marky Xtreme?
Oh, fuck yeah, we're uncensored. We talk about dicks and fucking shit and all kinds of assholes on Your Mark, the number one wrestling podcast.
That language makes me so uncomfortable. Okay, so when you had spoken to the Young Bucks, which one is it that you spoke to?
I was a lot of my communications was directly with the. I don't know which one is which.
Do you not know their names?
Isn't it Nick and Martin?
Oh, come on now.
Milton? Nick and Milton. I think a lot of my correspondence was with Milton.
It is not Nick and Milton Jackson.
What is it then?
It's Nick and Matt Jackson.
Ah, yes, Nick and Matt. A lot of my correspondence was with Matt Jackson, I think. I don't honestly remember, Skeeter. Do you want me to go back and pull up my chat logs from AOL Instant Messenger? I promise none of them are incriminating with underage people. This is all, I have them all saved to my desktop.
Well, be that as it may, maybe that's something we'll get into as we go along here, but they went from the backyard and eventually into the mainstream. The Young Bucks then got signed to TNA, and they went by the tag team name of Generation Me, in which they went by the names Max and Jeremy Buck. Now, did you watch the Young Generation Me in TNA?
No, Skeeter, I did not watch any of that. Running a company, I've said maybe times before, I don't got time to watch anything. I don't got time to listen to any music outside of backyard wrestling entertainment content. So I'm not familiar at all. Why did they change their name?
Well, I mean, sometimes this is what I've heard. Now, when you sometimes work for other wrestling companies, they like to own their own properties. So when you get signed, they say, okay, what you did in the past, that's one thing. But when you're here, you're going to go by this name and this gimmick, and this is how we're going to package you.
Yeah, I get that. That I understand wanting to do that, and I do that for everybody that comes into backyard wrestling entertainment. But if I go to a company, nobody's going to change my name. Nobody's going to change what made me and got me to the dinner. So I just think they should have stood their ground, and maybe things would have turned out different for them in Impact Wrestling. So I think that I think Impact Wrestling has had a lot of hits, a lot of misses, and this is definitely one of them that I bet they're looking back on and saying, "Oh, we should have done things a little different with the Young Bucks." Also, there was a time when we were flirting with Impact Wrestling, and I bet this is looped into one of those times where they probably wish they'd have done things different. But that's a topic for a future episode, Skeeter.
That's true. There's many a story to be told from our world. But yes, they had an opportunity at TNA and it didn't quite go right. And many fans wondered, why did they change their names? Marky Xtreme, would you ever change your name if you were to be signed by one of the big companies?
Not a chance in hell, Skeeter. I have already a list of demands for any wrestling company that shows interest in me. As you know, I'm currently retired, from active competition, but that doesn't mean that if a top money contract comes along that I can, let's say, pull a little Terry Funk and come out of retirement. But as it stands now, I have a high list of demands. I expect things to be, a certain way. And I think that, they should be a certain way. And I think that some people, should, expect their homes and apartments to be a certain way and clean and tidy. And that's why I think that you should keep your home clean and tidy with Tammy's Home Cleaning Services. Right, Skeeter?
Yes, it's time for one of the sponsors of the show. Now, of course, we welcome any other sponsors out there. If you're bigger and you want to be a part of the show and affiliated, like if you're Del Taco, we welcome you on in. Or if you're Taco Bell, just come on, just give us an email, onyourmarkshow@gmail.com. But Tammy's Cleaning Home Services is the best cleaning service you're ever going to get. It's Marky Xtreme's mom, Tammy, who's a super nice lady. Tammy, hi, I hope you're listening. It's Skeeter. How are you doing? It's you're so nice, and you raised such a good son, and I think the world of him, and you're a super lady, and I just think your cleaning service is going to be so great and so big. And
Stop, Skeeter, stop. Okay, look, I'm only forced to advertise my mom's company, or she won't let me use our new dinner table at Backyard Wrestling Entertainment. So, use my mom Tammy's Home Cleaning Services. She promises to only smoke 2 cigarettes when cleaning your home or apartment inside.
Yeah. She's real good at polishing doorknobs too. If you need a knob rubbed off good, Tammy's the lady to do it.
My mom will polish your knob to completion.
So, independent wrestling has always been this mystery of where are the greatest new wrestling talents come from, and that's where the Young Bucks started to thrive. Even Dave Meltzerman had written about the Young Bucks, and they got their own move that named after him, the Dave Meltzerman Driver. And they've had these 5-star matches. They're wrestling everybody. They're wrestling in PWG. They're wrestling everywhere. And then they go from the independents into New Japan Pro Wrestling, and then soon started up the Bullet Club, which I know is probably a bit of a sore subject with you, Marky Xtreme.
Yeah, I have to be honest. I was a big fan of the Bullet Club, as many people were. I love the work that they were doing. Again, like I said earlier, I don't really necessarily get, how the Young Bucks were taken so seriously and rose to such quick fame, being as small as they are. But to each is their own. A lot, they did have a lot of success, and the Bullet Club. Everywhere you look, there were Bullet Club T-shirts and Marky Xtreme T-shirts, and you can get those shirts at prowrestlingtees.com/OnYourMarkShow. But God give credit where credit is blue. The Bullet Club was a popular brand. And I had the fortunate opportunity to really interview the Bullet Club about a couple years ago. And at the end of that interview, I was offered an opportunity to be inducted into the Bullet Club with a swift super kick, and I said, you know what, this is one of those life-changing moments to take and grab by the balls. So I grabbed the Young Bucks by the balls, and I took that kick, and I thought I was inducted into the Bullet Club. You can see all this at youtube.com/OnYourMarkShow in my Young Bucks shoot interview.
From the vault.
Come on.
Everybody takes a super kick.
Yeah.
What do you don't want to be part of the?
Everybody takes one.
Yeah, it's a super
wanna be in
kick
the-
party.
You want to be in the bowling club?
Yeah, I want to
Well, come on. Get up, Nick.
Yep.
On 3. 1, 2, 3. All right, you're in the bowling club. Here, you can even do the two sweet thing. There we go. Now let's get out. Whatever, I'll take it. Boom. Yeah. Cool, man. Good. All right. Bye-bye.
But, radio silence. Months and months and months went by. They proceeded to go on and sell shirts at Hot Topic and head to such success and create their own company, blah, blah, blah. I've gotten through this with a lot of therapy, but yeah, it was, I should say, Skeeter, a sore subject, and I was owed a lot. And, maybe one day I'll get that Hulk Hogan Gawker lawyer and try to get the money that I'm owed. And, I don't know if it's going to take me getting a sex tape involved somehow to get some money out of this situation, but I'll do what I have to do to get what I'm owed. But for right now, I gotta give credit where credit is due, and it's really amazing the things they've done, and it really all started with the Bullet Club.
Yeah, it was a fascinating time for the world of Marky Xtreme, to be sure, because you had this exclusive interview with the Young Bucks that I thought was going really well, by the way. And yes, they offered to induct you into the Bullet Club. And in order to be inducted, they super kicked you in the face. They had a super kick party to Marky Xtreme's face. And I mean, that was a really fun party. It was great to be there. And you were knocked out for several minutes, if not a couple hours. I mean, there's a lot of editing that you did with that footage. You did not get up right away. You were out for a really long time.
Okay, Skeeter, that nobody needs to know that.
I thought we were telling all. I thought this is like a tell-all.
I was down for a millisecond, Skeeter. There was no. Okay.
I don't think so. I think we're to all the space and time, like as Matt Hardy would say, was broken because your head was
Skeeter,
broken.
you don't know much about the business I was selling. I want to make my boys, who I thought I was a part of a team of, look good. I was actually fine, Skeeter. I didn't complain or anything after. I was absolutely fine.
I mean, I guess I know a little bit about concussions and being knocked out because I've trained with you, but you couldn't walk straight for a long time. All you ate was applesauce. Some of your teeth had fallen out.
Skeeter, you got to live the gimmick. You got to sell it. When people see me out in the world and they knew that had happened, I can't let them, it's called kayfabe, brother. Okay. We got to work them, I was fine.
Is that why you also pooped in your pants?
Yeah. You know what? If I gotta shit my pants to make the fans believe, I'll do what I gotta do, because my job is to make these fans believe that what we do is real. And if it takes me eating applesauce for 3 months and shitting my pants occasionally, even if I'm at home by myself and I shit my pants and nobody sees it, I'll do what I gotta do to make the fans believe, because I care that much about this business.
Oh, all right. Well, it was controversial because you were the only inducted Bullet Club member to not be officially acknowledged as part of the Bullet Club. Do you think there was some paperwork maybe in the mail that you were sent and you didn't complete, and that's why this didn't go through? Why weren't you officially in the Bullet Club, Marky Xtreme?
Yeah, Skeeter, this has run through my mind. Still to this day, I'm woken up screaming in the middle of the night with night terrors because of thinking, maybe I threw it out with all the mail. Every time I get mail, I just throw it out anyways. I don't really look at it, so it could have been easily one of the many mail that I throw out. The only mail that I keep is if it looks like it's fan mail, because I want to know that what I'm doing is working and connecting with people. But if a fan doesn't send me money, I throw out that too. So it could have easily got lost in the mail. My voicemail box at home, sometimes my mom Tammy accidentally records over it or deletes shit when she shouldn't. But that easily could have happened. But I what, Skeeter, like I said, I've gone through a lot of therapy to get through this, and some things in life and some things in wrestling are meant to be. I've come to terms that Undertaker and Sting may never wrestle. It's just never meant to be. I've come to terms that, we've actually had some deaths in backyard wrestling entertainment. Their life wasn't meant to be, so this Marky Xtreme being an official member of the Bullet Club maybe just wasn't meant to be. But the truth is out there. I was an unofficial member. Like you said, Skeeter.
Well, it is a travesty in wrestling. It's worse than the Montreal screw job, and worse than, as you alluded to, deaths in wrestling. It's one of the biggest travesties of all time that I hope gets righted someday. But I think what's super exciting for the Young Bucks is they went from the backyard into the big leagues. They helped create one of the biggest, newest, greatest wrestling promotions of AEW, All Elite Wrestling, along with Cody Rhodes and Brandy Rhodes and their dog and Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page and Chris Jericho and they got Brody Lee now, and who else they got? They got the Dark Order, of course, and then
they're missing. They got a lot of people, Skeeter. They got a lot of people. They're missing, obviously, one talent that could really take them over the top. But it is really amazing what they've done. I was very bitter about it before, but you gotta give credit. They've done really amazing things. I know how hard it is to start a company, let alone maintain a company, and it is not an easy feat.
Don't you think it's fascinating if you look at the careers between the two? They started in the backyard, and then they worked for all these wrestling companies and became super successful, started their own faction, and then started up AEW. Now they're millionaires. And then there's you, Marky Xtreme. You start up a backyard wrestling entertainment company, and then you've had all these stars come through that you've interviewed. And then from there, most of them get jobs at AEW or WWE or NXT. And then you started a podcast.
Well, I mean, I think that this podcast is something to be very, very proud of, Skeeter. Okay, we're on the verge and down the path of making the same kind of money. Once that dick pill money comes in, we're going to be rolling with the big boys. But yeah, our career trajectories are very similar, and I don't think that that's any coincidence. I think that you put me next to the Young Bucks. I'm obviously way bigger, way better looking, got way bigger of a pecker, but our careers are very similar, and I don't think that's very much a coincidence. I think it's very evident that talent is real, and regardless of their size and the fact that I don't get it, it connects with some people. The Young Bucks touch a lot of kids. The Young Bucks touch a lot of people. And I, in a different field, in a different avenue, Marky Xtreme, touch a lot of people. Marky Xtreme, touch a lot of kids. And, it's just, talent will get recognized, Skeeter, in whatever avenue they end up going, whatever path they may take. And for them, it's $1 million, and it's a show on TNT, and it's all this fame and glory and Shao Kahn. And and all these really cool things. And for me right now, it's, I'm retired and I've done everything I can do in this business, and I'm on the path of some dick pill money,
Well,
It's great. I'm happy.
I'd like to quote something right now, because sometimes when you're in your room with your door locked, I hear you watching AEW, and I wrote down a little quote because you wrote, "God dang it, how do I get in that fucking AEW already? Whose ass do I gotta chew in order to get me some of that millionaire dollars?" These little dang young bucks, what the hell did they ever do to deserve this? I'm a gosh dang old motherfucking champion of the backyard.
Okay, Skeeter. I'm gonna stop you right there. My
Good,
door
because
was
I don't
shut,
like all that swearing.
you-
It's uncomfortable.
Skeeter, I'm gonna stop you there. My door was shut. You obviously haven't cleaned your ears in a very long time, so you probably heard me a little incorrectly. I was watching the product, as a retired, undefeated world's champion who will consider any contract thrown at me potentially, if the money's right, if that contract comes in. But for right now, I'm retired, but I still like to stay on top of the product. My job right now is to deliver the fans with the best wrestling podcast. So I got to watch the product. And, so I think you probably were hearing me incorrectly. In fact, I was watching the product and praising them at a high level of volume and saying, "Oh, how the hell are they doing this? This is awesome. And whose ass do I gotta to smack because of all the success that they have done? Fuck. This is so great. I'm so proud of the boys because I'm one of the boys." That's probably what you actually mistakenly heard, Skeeter.
Well, there's a lot of glass breaking too, so I don't know. It seemed like you were a little upset.
I was listening to Stone Cold's theme song at the same time. Okay, I like to listen to that too. You don't know what you're talking about, Skeeter. Moving on. If you want to break glass, and if you want to have the muscles to do that, then you should join Marky Xtreme's shake weight classes. Tell them about it, Skeeter.
Every Wednesday night at the Y, there are slots open. It seems like in the past couple of weeks, more and more slots have just opened up, and Marky Xtreme is available to teach his shake weight class to all the ladies out there. Fellas are not allowed in, no matter how much you may plead or beg or offer cash. But you can learn to train like the champ with a shake weight, and hosted by Marky Xtreme himself.
Yeah, Skeeter, I'm going to stop you there because every advertisement we've done so far, you've kind of gotten something wrong. It's every Wednesday night at the Women's Club, and yes, it's a women's only shake weight class. I do get hands-on and really close and in depth with you, but it's because I care and I want you to get as jacked as Marky Xtreme so you can break glass like me.
Well, we're going to be wrapping things up here, Marky Xtreme, but Jim Ross, good old JR himself, who's an AEW commentator, always says the Young Bucks are the best tag team in the world today. Marky Xtreme, do you agree with that sentiment?
I would have to say, they are one of the best. I gotta give I've repeated this thing ad nauseam on this episode. That gotta give credit where credit is due. The Young Bucks will go down in history as one of the best tag teams there is. Now, that's not to say that if Marky Xtreme ever does decide to form a tag team, I've had many pitch tag teams in the past, from the Badass Buddies to Moose and Goose. If one of those tag teams would actually come to fruition, then I think that those would be the best tag teams in the world. But you can't really compare the Young Bucks to tag teams like Demolition and the Outsiders and the Road Warriors and all those big jacked motherfuckers like those guys. But they are without a doubt in history going to go down as one of the best. But I don't agree with Jim Ross. I don't think that you probably heard him correctly for clear reasons. But his it probably came out kind of mumbled, and you probably heard something a little bit different. But I think that they will go down as one of the best, but no way, damn fucking shape and form will they go down as the best tag team.
Well, then, who is it, Marky Xtreme? Who is the greatest tag team ever? Not in fantasy land where all your tag teams that you try to start didn't happen, but which one for reals? For reals?
That's a hard question for me to answer. I have many on my Mount Rushmore of tag teams, but like I said, the Outsiders are fucking cool as hell. I'm a huge fan of the Outsiders for life. But why
are you dancing? Stop dancing around it. We're here to get the answers. No more dancing around it. Who's the best tag team ever?
I guess I'd have to say the Outsiders.
Oh, that's cool. They're pretty cool. Can I get too sweet?
Hell no. Get away from me.
Never get too sweet. All right. The Young Bucks. There's so much that we just took the surface and we scratched at it. There's so much more to talk about. I'm so excited to be having chatted with Marky Xtreme today about the Young Bucks. So we're wrapping up today. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. You can find our show on social media at OYM You can also rate and review this show on iTunes. And just like Marky Xtreme's matches, they're 5 stars. So give a 5-star and spread the word about the show. And be sure to check out youtube.com/OnYourMarkShow, where you're going to see the Young Bucks interview that we've been talking about, where you can watch Marky Xtreme get super kicked right in the face. Oh, it's so good. Just both feet managed to hit him right in the jaw. And I wish we had slow-mo on it, because you probably see his eyes roll back in his head like The Undertaker. Oh, it's so cool. But you can see that and many other great interviews on there. And it's been so fun. And check out our network, DragonWagonRadio.com, that hosts our podcast along with many, many other great podcasts about movies, about Dungeons and Dragons, all sorts of fun stuff. So check them out as well. Marky Xtreme, in closing, what would you say to the Young Bucks? I know they're listening to the show, so please address the Young Bucks. What do you got to say?
I would say this, Skeeter. Proud of what you kids have done. You obviously modeled your career after me, and I get it. It makes a lot of sense. I'm open to discussions. If this may be breaking news, and it's going to probably hit all the Meltzerman dirt sheets, but I am open to contractual discussions. If you guys want to, do some kind of BWE invasion, or if AEW wants to invade BWE, or if you want to have Mark come in and you want to pay me that $1 million contract and that I deserve, and you can meet all my demands, I'm open for discussions. If you would just pay for my flight and we could have a sick meal at Applebee's or whatever, I can get us a discount if it's the right Applebee's and the right girlfriend at the time. But I will have to say, Skeeter, going back, I was working, I was selling. They did super kick me, but there's a reason that you have not wrestled a match yet, because you obviously don't know what the word selling means, Skeeter. But sell the fans on the ending of our show, please.
Oh, well, it's been so fun to bring another show to you. And we're going to be back next week with an all new podcast talking about something else in wrestling, but I'm going to keep it a surprise until then. So thanks for listening, everybody, and stay extreme.
Dragon Wagon.